And we were very impressed and happy with the reaction of Nigerians. They went back to the farm. And we made sure our neighbor, especially Nigeria, understand us, because there are Nigerians that order food in Niger for Nigerian market. The Nigerian government cooperated with us. So really, we defended on ourselves, and Nigerians do not regret it. Corruption is very difficult under this system. Even under the military system, luckily I have experienced both occasions. When I collected people, put them in Kiriki or somewhere and said they are guilty until they can prove themselves innocent, and put investigation panels based almost on the geopolitical zone for people that held positions, governors, ministers, commissioners, heads of parastatals, because then people don't get that position until they declare their assets. Then they are faced with the bank statements and their assets. If they cannot explain, the balance is taken away from them. But what happened? Eventually, I myself was arrested, detained, and they were given back what they have looted. So that's why Agbada and join and see what this partisan politics is all about. I will not change, but the system here, those who have the money, they can take sons, first-class lawyers. Cases will take 10 years. And doing things with immediate effect was not possible. But I assure you that in spite of the problem we are having with the system, whoever we have correct intelligence that he's not being very accountable, we ease him out. We don't give it too much publicity. But I assure you that those who are responsible, who are holding responsible positions, know that we don't tolerate corruption.
Shekau is reported dead. Does that give an opportunity for us to zero in and consolidate and secure the Northeast?
The problem of the Northeast was very difficult. The governor, the present governor, is working very hard. He's taking a lot of risk. And I asked him, this Boko Haram, is it our people, is it Nigerians or people coming out? He said, they are Nigerians, most of them. They are Nigerians. As I said, the only way we got them around was that you can't kill innocent people and said God is great. That worked very well, but I think we have a problem of unemployment. We have a problem of a lot of youth looking basically for what to eat, not even to talk of accommodation or dress. The level of poverty is almost unimaginable. So this is a problem. But those who are really keeping in touch with what we are doing, they know the difference between the time we came in and now. And the people of Northeast and South, I think, are the best judges for the performance of this administration, because they know what they were in and they know the condition now.
I was Kashina last year, at the height of this insecurity, of this banditry. It's like insecurity has moved from the northeast to the northwest. People can no longer go to town. How do you respond to some of this time, especially banditry in the northeast?
Well, I had series of meetings. You know, the whole security apparatus was changed, as you know. all the service chiefs and the IGs went. The ones that succeeded them had been part of the system. So we had series of meetings with them, at least 3 meetings, each one lasting more than 2 hours. Firstly, I allowed them to go around, and see the position on the ground. They made changes in their offices and commands and the men. And we told them that we want confidence to be rebuilt. As you observe, people to go back to the land so that we wouldn't have food problem. And I think that is being done. We are giving it less publicity because we don't want to make them aware that we are taking them head on. But I think those who are in the field know they have been suffering a lot of casualties. And we stopped, for example, mining in Zamfara State. We expelled the foreigners, and we are talking to the government, although he is not in the federal government's party, but we want to secure Zamfara, Sokoto, and so on. And we mentioned Katsina and so on. But the important thing is the question of local security apparatus. We have police in every town. And I've been talking to the police, trying to push them as hard as I can. They don't wear uniform and sling their rifle just to intimidate people, but to make sure, if necessary, they use it to bring security. In the Northeast, you know what was happening. In the South House, you know. I, too, was almost overwhelmed by what is happening in the Northwest. But we are treating them as criminals now. They are experiencing a lot of casualties. They will not say it because they don't want to demoralize their recruitment constituencies. But they are suffering a lot of casualties. We know that.
Mr. President, still on the issue of security.
Yes.
Each zone you would have witnessed has sort of taken matters into their own hands with different kind of security apparatus, like the civilian JTF, Amotekun, and what have you. Has the time come to now formalize state police in Nigeria?
I have seen, or I have been reading it in the newspapers. Those of us who are old enough to know the old NA police and so on. That time, the traditional institutions leaders were very effective. In each community, you know, I will give you one example of recent. 2 governors from the Southwest came to tell me that the cattle rearers in some of the forests there have killed farmers while their cattle were eating on their crops. So I told them, you campaigned to be elected, and you are elected. You said, yes. I said, go back and sort out yourself. Because there has been a system, as all of us here could recall, even your local government, when there are security at each level, at local government and state, it consists the traditional leaders in that area who have been there for generations. So they know all the crooks in their locality. Then the police, then those who come, whether they are cattle rearers or influential traders, they are part of it. They meet either monthly or quarterly, you know, and discuss the security within that level. If it is above them, they pass it on. So I told those governors to go back and go to the old system so that they will have intelligence. They will know what is happening in their constituencies. They just can't go around and win election and then sit tight and think somebody will do their job for them. I just send them back.
Mr. President, the 17 governors in the southern part of the country recently called for restructuring. They also announced a ban on open grazing in the southern states. But despite that, the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, SCN, said they didn't know what they were talking about. But what exactly is your own opinion on open grazing? What steps are you planning to take to put an end to farmers' herders' clash?
You want me to contradict my Attorney General? Okay. What I did was ask them to go and dig the Gazette of First Republic when people were obeying laws. There's cattle routes and grazing area. Cattle routes where when they are moving up country, north to south or east to west, they have to go through there. If you allow your cattle to stray into any farmer's farm, you are arrested. The farmer is invited to submit his claims. The alkali or the judge will say, "Oh, I pay." If you can't, the cattle is sold, and if there is any balance, you are given. And people are behaving themselves. And in the grazing areas, they built earth dams, put windmills, in some places even veterinary departments, so that the herders are limited. Their route is known, their grazing area is known. If they have any problem from the locality is known. But I'm telling you, this rushing to the center, people just, I think. So I asked for the gazettes, to make sure that those who encroached on these cattle routes and grazing areas will be dispossessed, and try to bring some order back into the cattle areas. The problem is trying to understand the culture of the cattle rearers. There is a cultural distance between the chiefs and the Fulanis. So the governor of Benue said, "I'm not disciplining the cattle rearers because I'm one of them." I cannot refuse to say I'm not one of them, but he's been very unfair to me. And I told him that the Nigerian cattle rearer was not carrying anything more than a stick, sometimes with a machete, to cut some trees and give it to anymore. But those sophisticated ones, they are good with AK-47. So from all the Sahel areas, people rush to Nigeria, and Fulani from Mauritania or from Central Africa look the same. So they think they are Nigerian ones. And I assure you that we are trying to resuscitate these cattle routes, grazing areas, and make them accountable. And then this cancelling of taxes, ordinary people like it, but the problem of accountability, when taxes are being paid, people were behaving themselves. But now without taxation, people are doing what they like.
Yes, that brings us to the question of power devolution. All these taxation things, these were things that were working in the first republic, but they are no longer working because of that. And that's what people are talking about, restructuring the federation to make it work for them. And it was part of the APC manifesto in 2015. And what is your position now on devolution of powers?
Devolution of power, you have to define it.
It's the legislative list. Take some of the things to residual and keep a few to concurrent, while you have a strong defense in the center.
Well, virtually, local governments are virtually killed. You know it. The 3 tiers of government, federal, state, and local government, if they are being followed properly, we wouldn't have all these social problems. But the problem is the local government have been virtually killed. And this is not good for this country. It's not good for this country because those who became the local government chairman have been compromised. If your local government is, say, entitled or is supposed to receive 300 million, a letter will be prepared for you to sign that you have received 300 million and you are given only 100 million.
So how can we reduce the powers of governors and give more powers to local governments? By writing a new constitution.
And reduce the powers of the president too.
While we're at it.
The civil president has a lot of power. Okay, I think this question of accountability is very important. The schooling, especially education, is suffering so much. If, for example, during our generation, I spent 9 years in boarding school. And the teachers then treat us as they treat their own children. If you do well, you are brought before the classroom and praised. If you misbehave, they remove your thing and plug you there in front of the class. So you just have to behave yourself. But now, one of the chaps from Ogun State, Pastor Bakari, he told me when he came back from America, he went to his alma mater, and he couldn't differentiate between the teachers and the children there. You see, the teachers used to take students as their children, and they have all the time for them. But problem, the standard virtually has collapsed. We have a lot of problem.
Wow.
It takes us to the next question. In the northern part of the country, many schools have been subjects of attacks. Now, if these schools are perpetually being attacked by bandits and terrorists, and you want to lift 100 million out of it, and their parents are also under threat, how do you think that goal of 100 million people out of poverty can be achieved?
Well, try and appreciate what efforts the federal government has done. One, we have moved all the service chiefs and the inspector general of police. We made new ones. We allow them to go around and see the problem. They have been part of it all the time, but now they are in charge. And we made sure that their priorities is to make sure they have brought normalcy, people to accept the responsibility of their offices and perform. They are working very hard on that. We cannot give it enough publicity because we don't want to give fair warning to the real criminals. The ones from northeast, the ones in the south, the problem is northwest. The same people, same culture, killing each other, stealing each other's cattle, burning their villages. As I said, we are going to treat them in the language they will understand. We have given the police and the military power to be ruthless. And you watch it, in a few weeks' time, there will be difference. Because we told them that if we keep people away from their farms, we are going to starve. And the government cannot control the public. If you allow hunger, to permeate the whole society, the government will be in trouble. And we don't want to be in trouble. We are already in enough trouble. So we want them. And sooner than later, I will see the difference.
Yeah, now, Your Excellency, you talked about talking to the people of Northeast in a language they understand. That is the whole, there's a crisis around that language. So it shows that because we are a former military man, we are talking about, using force to restore order. But it's understood in another way, especially given what happened last week when you spoke about the Southeast, IPOB, and all that. One, the controversy of Twitter. When is the government going to ban Twitter? The suspension of Twitter, because when Nigerians are expecting when the government will do that, and two, how are we going to resolve the crisis in the South?
Well, Southeast, I was encouraged by what I heard. Nobody told me. 2 statements from the South. One by elderly people. No, South. Yes, by elderly people. They said this time around there will be no access to sea. I'm sure you will understand what they mean. Again, the youth made the same statement. That encouraged me. So that's a pub. It's just like a dot in a circle. If they want to exist, they would have no access to anywhere. And the way they are spread all over the country, having businesses, having property, I think IPOP doesn't know what they are talking about. In any case, we say we'll talk to them in the language they understand. We'll organize the police and the military to pursue them. That's what we can do. And we will do it.
What about Twitter?
Twitter. That I will give to myself. What?
Well, still on the Southeast, Mr. President, how do you plan to include more people from the Southeast, and indeed the South in general,
To
include more people in the Southeast, and indeed the South in general, in your government, especially in security services and MDAs?
you look at, say, NNPC, look at the military. People who have been there for 18 years, or people who have been there, say, for 10 years, they trained in Zaria or in Abeokuta. They come through the ranks. And because they served under all the circumstances, the crisis and everything, and they gradually rise to that status. And you think you just pick somebody just to balance up? These positions have to be earned. Those positions have to be earned. There are people who have been there for 10, 15 years. And you just because somebody will say, well, there's nobody. If you don't join, you are not forced to join. But when you join, you go through the rigmarole. You go through the problem throughout, and you learn by the system.
Yeah, but Your Excellency, in the case of the Chief of Army Staff, there are almost 30 generals who have to be retired now or whatever because of demand, because of the rank of the current Chief of Staff.
Do you know why he was serving before he became the Chief of Army Staff? You can't get to pick just somebody just because he is wearing seniority and make him. You put somebody who has been in the mill, who has suffered with the soldiers, they know him, he fought with them, and so on. To tell you the truth, on individual basis, all these chaps, they know me. Because I want to do it, but I don't know them. I have forgotten them. Some of them, I don't know them.
Operational experience was a part of it.
It is, because the soldiers, to be effectively led, must be somebody they know they are alone to him. He exposed himself to him.
Leave the security services. I believe one of the things we're talking about is signaling and of belonging. Beyond security, Southeast, they want to be secretary to government. They want to be other things. Like you said, you've chosen 2 or 3 of them, like Okadipo as VP. So you've said you don't have anything against them. So why don't you, as father or bring them more together? Make them feel belonging. Make them feel like your children.
You better get a list of our civil servants. if you think there are no people from Southeast. There are people from the Southeast, but they know they have to go through the mill.
Well, Mr. President, I was going to ask about the challenges you referred to earlier about fighting corruption and how difficult it is under a democratic system.
Yeah.
But there's this perception, general perception that, well, the best way to escape prosecution is to just join the ruling party.
Because one or two governors that joined APC, you think that was why they joined?
Well, it's a matter of perception.
What this administration can do is to make sure that APC lasts beyond this administration. And we started registration from polling unit to ward to local government to the state, so that APC will know how many of them there are in state by state, in even local government by local government, so that by the time this administration goes, they will be firmly on the ground and they can continue. And that is the best thing politically for the country and for the party.
So it's not as if, but to have a warrior intention, people believe that once you join APC, you rule, that your rule is not see corruption under the carpet.
No, you are very, very unfair to us.
Now, power rotation.
Yes.
There's an agreement in APC to move power from north and south. But what parts of the south, or where do you think the president should come from to keep your legacy going?
Should we allow the party to decide? I have just told you that we started from bottom up. And I gave the acting chairman, to the end of this month, June, he asked for an expansion. For them, the committee, we developed terms of reference, we put a committee, and they are going to give me this report by the end of the month on the convention we are going to conduct and then arrange the general elections, up to 2003, all the elections. And we will start this from bottom upward so that members of the party will feel they are involved in decision making. Nobody is just sitting here in Lagos and asking them what to do. This is what we are arranging.
So there's no succession plan?
No, succession plan, it depends on the party. We are going to leave that to the party. The party will sit and make its decision by the constituencies, they won and so on. So those who want to be president, they better join APC.
Economy and the limited economic growth that we've seen recently. And I'll start with foreign direct investment. Even though your administration has given the right signal with regards to ease of doing business, Nigeria has barely improved. And we're losing foreign direct investment to our neighbors, such as Ghana. What can you do to make Nigeria a more competitive and more attractive destination for foreign direct investment?
Well, this question was answered when there was this answers. You remember the young people who wanted to march here and remove me when they were checked that answers. And my answer to that, I got the members of the Executive Council. As you could recall, by the Constitution, there must be a member of Executive Council from each state. That is the Constitution. Every state must be represented. So I got them on a Wednesday, a day like this. I said they should go, each one should go to his state, speak to the governor, speak to the traditional leaders, speak to the business people, and speak to the youth, especially, and tell them that the federal government, no more vacancy, is full. Go to any state governor and ask him now to give you a contract or to give you a job. He will tell you there is no vacancy. The same thing with local government. So you may have a good decree, but you may die without having a job. Why? Because nobody is going to invest in an insecure environment. So I told them, I said they should tell the youth that if they want jobs, they will behave themselves, make sure Nigeria is secure so that people can come and invest. Nigeria is resourceful, people know it. We are a rich country. God has endowed us. But nobody can bring, look at the today, like 200 buses bought by the former governor of Lagos. Some of these boys went and banned the vehicle. The governor made an album, came and I took the album and put it aside. I said, go and tell them to walk. Who will go and invest his money in an unstable environment? Nobody will. It's just common sense. So you behave yourself, you make Nigeria secure, and people will invest.
So coming back to competition, looking at the issue of, as you are petroleum minister, Mr. President, the issue of spending money for subsidies, which is taking monies that have been invested in infrastructure, which we also come to. How do we deal with the subsidy question of petroleum and power?
It's a very difficult question, and I suspect you know it. Nigerians visit their oil, so it can't be too expensive. Nigerian petroleum is being sold from here up to Ghana. At the pump station, Nigeria, people will take it, will close the borders, they put jerry cans, they ride the machine through the bush. And if you try and give it the cost and insist that it has to be economic base, Nigeria will say this is their oil, and they will riot and push you out of wherever you are, even if it is a presidential villa. They will push you out. They will say this is their oil. So what we want is to try to get the cooperation of customs, immigration, and this border guards so that it cannot be taken in substantial amount. Customs are doing quite well because we are confiscating tankers, selling the petrol and selling the tankers, and the people whom we are dispossessing of this, they don't complain. They don't talk to anybody, they don't say it. That the government has taken away their tankers and sold their petrol and so on. We are doing it.
Mr. President, let's talk about debt service to revenue ratio. Under your watch, it has risen from about 40% to 90%, thereabouts. And there are many who are complaining that, well, because of this heavy debt burden, it's becoming very difficult to fund infrastructure. What measures is your government putting in place to diversify the economy and to further increase revenue?
Well, you start talking about the infrastructure. I would like you to check how much we are earning from 1999 to 2014. Our production. If you check, you will find out the average production was 2.1 million barrels a day. At the average cost of $100 American per barrel. So 1999 to 2014, we were earning 2.1 million times 100 each day. Look at the state of the infrastructure. Look at our roads. Look at the rail. Look at power. And tell me which country developed without infrastructure. And did you ask those regimes or that regime, whichever it is, what they have done with the money? No roads, no rail, no power. I sit here and see the amount of casualties we are getting between Lagos and Ibadan alone on daily basis. Tomorrow I'm going to commission the rail, the roads, and ask people who are living in Lagos now going to Ibadan or coming up country, how easy they have found it. This is what we have been doing. But what have they done with all the money they are getting? Look at power. There had been a lot of waste. There had been a lot of waste.
Your Excellency, I was commending you on the infrastructure. Your government has done quite a bit on infrastructure, but there is also something about infrastructure that is surprising to many Nigerians. You are carrying a lot of this infrastructure to Niger Republic. Road, rail, people are wondering what is the attraction of Niger Republic? Why is there obsession by the Buhari administration towards Niger Republic?
How many neighbors do you have? Both of individual and the national rule. You have to cultivate your neighbor. If you don't, you are in trouble. If you could recall when I came, I went to Chad, I went to Niger, I went to the Cameroon. Look at what happened with us Boko Haram. If we are not in the good relationship with Niger and Chad and Cameroon, Boko Haram would have done worse things to us than this. And you say I'm carrying to Niger. I told you the border between us and Niger is 1,500 kilometers. And in Niger, you see, I spoke to one Frenchman, and I have to tell you this. He spoke nonsense. I say, you people in 1885, you sat down with ruler and pencil and draw lines. I say, I have first cousins in Niger. There are Kanuris, there are Hausas, there are Fulanis in Niger Republic. Just as there are Yorubas in Benin, Republic, and so on. You can't absolutely cut them off. But the rail, look at the plan, if you read the plan, how we are rehabilitating the rail. Niger, they have discovered oil too, as you know. And we don't want to allow them to go through Benin Republic. We want them to come through Nigeria. We hope they will decide when we take the rail up to Marathi that they will send all their exports and so on through Nigeria rather than through Benin. Because with the railways and the roads working, both from Maiduguri to Port Harcourt, from Kano to Lagos and so on, people will be very busy. And I believe if you make the infrastructure work, road, rail, I assure you that Nigerians will keep themselves very busy and they will leave you alone. But when the roads are not more trouble, the rail is virtually crippled. People have so much time to harass you.
Mr. President, now that you've overcome your health challenges, looking great, what is the outlook for the last 2 years of your presidency? And then in retirement, after 2023, what do you plan to do? Your presidential library, what projects will interest you in retirement?
Thank you very much for thinking that I'm okay. I have never abandoned my farm. I still have got a number of cattle. And when I leave, I will be going to my farm daily. I will try and keep myself busy. Between now and then, I will try to keep on convincing Nigerians that I mean very well. I will make sure that the three identifiable problems we have, security, economy, and fighting crime, I will continue to work on it. And as I said, visibly, we made progress in the Northeast, we made progress in the South-South, but I'm overwhelmed almost by Northwest, and they are going to get it very soon.
Mr. President, what will be the Buhari legacy?
Well, I will allow Nigerians to discuss it. I hope they will be fair to me. I wouldn't like to say it myself. I would like Nigerians to try and spend time when we came, both economy and security, where we were, where we had been for the 8 years and maybe around, and try to work out. I hope Nigeria will be fair to me. This is all I need.
All Nigerians may be having fears. What's your message to the people of Nigeria today on your 6th anniversary, on where we are and over the last few days? Last question.
Yes, under the system, Nigerians would say what they want. They want their own republics. They don't even talk of the resources, how we can disengage ourselves, how we are going to share what we have invested when we are together, how are we going to share it out, how fair are we going to be to ourselves. And try and see our population, our young population. If we cut ourselves into pieces, can we win the confidence of investors, real investors, people to come and build factories, employ people, produce goods and services, and then earn from taxation, from employment? I don't like the way Nigerian elite is allowing ignorant or careless people talking all over the place. We have so much to learn and so much to guide together than to try and disorganize people's way of thinking that if you become a republic, things will be all right. Let them see how long it took us between 1960 and now, how we came about. We have consolidated it.
Mr. President, thank you so much for